Ladies and gentlemen, the program is about to begin, and we ask you, please take your seats. We invite you to quiet yourselves and enjoy listening to the organ prelude that showcases the beautiful Holt Camp pipe organ in historic Sisters Chapel on the campus of Spelman College. The organ was installed in 1968 and was first played when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. laid in state for 3 days. Dr. Joyce Johnson played non-stop during this time as many passed through Sisters Chapel to pay respect to the civil rights leader. It's also been played for all of the formal academic and college events that Spelman College hosts. Thank you for listening, and please enjoy. Graduates, please stand as the procession begins.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce Finch Johnson, for the beautiful musical selection. Good afternoon. I am Myra Burnett, Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness at Spelman College. And on behalf of our President, Mary Schmidt Campbell, I am honored to welcome you to the 2022 Spelman College Commencement Exercises. Please be seated. Class of 2022, you have persevered through an unprecedented time in this country's history. Each of you have successfully completed your academic journey through a pandemic that required you to quickly pivot to online learning. Yep. And then pivot back to in-person experiences and learning. We celebrate your hard work and commitment to reach this especially important milestone. This is a long-awaited day for our students, their families and friends, and for our faculty, staff, and administration. It is also a day on which we pay tribute to the love and generosity of those who have supported you throughout your Spelman journey, now culminating in this long-awaited moment of achievement. We welcome our community and family members who are accessing this ceremony through live stream. The recording of the ceremony will be uploaded on the Spelman College YouTube channel for everyone's enjoyment. It is now my pleasure to introduce the platform party, including our faculty marshals. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. On the front row, starting from my left, Mackenzie Clark, class of 2022, valedictorian. Taylor Dews, class of 2022, valedictorian. Asia Woodard, class of 2022, valedictorian. Hannah Sharif, class of 2000, artistic director, the Repertory Theater of St. Louis. Dr. Elizabeth Alexander, president of the Mellon Foundation. And on my right, Dr. Mary Schmidt Campbell, Spelman College president. Stacy Abrams, JD. Class of 1995, politician, lawyer, entrepreneur, and author. Nyla Barnes, class of 2022, valedictorian. Ashley Cheeks, class of 2022, valedictorian. And on the back row, on my right, the Reverend Dr. Nichelle Guidry, Dean of the Chapel. Alisa Cabezas, class of 2022, senior class president. Jillian Jackson, class of 2022. Student Government Association President, Kiva Wright Berry, class of 1979, National Alumni Association of Spelman College President. And on the left, Head Marshal, Dr. Angela Ferris Watkins, class of 1986, Dr. Andrea Lawrence, class of 1968, Dr. Sandra Patterson, class of 1970, Platform Marshal, Dr. Darrell Holloman, Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Desiree Pettisclo, Dean of Undergraduate Studies, and last but certainly not least, Rosalind Brewer, class of 1984, Chair of the Spelman College Board of Trustees. I would like to acknowledge the Spelman College's Board of Trustees. Several are present here today. We want to thank them for their commitment and dedication to the college and the strategic leadership they have provided during these unprecedented times. I would like to ask all board members present to stand. None of these students would be seated here today without the hard work and dedication of the Spelman College faculty. Their commitment to the education of their students and the overall success of the college provides the foundation for all that our graduates have accomplished at Spelman and the foundation for the great feats that they will accomplish in the future. Will all faculty present please stand, and please join me in a round of applause for the faculty. Thank you. Spelman alumni are integral to the life of the college. Today, we have in our midst women who are celebrating having graduated from Spelman 50 years ago. Members of the Golden Girl class of 1972. We also have women here celebrating their 55th to their 70th year since graduation. These alumni are known as the Diamond Daughters. Please stand so that we may honor you. All Spelman alumni, the Golden Girls and Diamond Daughters. We love you dearly. And of course, the class of 2022 would not be here today without the support of their family and friends. Class of 2022, please stand and share your heartfelt appreciation to all the family members and friends who helped you achieve your goal of graduating from Spelman College. Thank you. The program will now proceed as printed with an invocation by the Reverend Dr. Nichelle Guidry. She will be followed by a virtual performance by the Spelman College Glee Club.
Family, friends, and class of 2022, please join me in a word of prayer. God of our weary years and God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far along the way, thou who has by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in this path. we pray. It is to you that we pray, and into your presence that we come, full of joy and gratitude and praise for this day. We have come to this moment because you have kept us. You have covered us. You have preserved us. You have sustained us. For somebody here, it has been a long time coming. But you have, by grace, kept us in the palm of your hands. And now that we're here, we acknowledge, we affirm that you are already here with us. We turn this sacred occasion over into your care, this commencement of the Spelman College class of 2022. Breathe upon us, God. Move among us, move and dance and rest in this place. Bestow upon us the blessing of your presence and your spirit. We await with joyful expectation all that you shall do and all that you are doing today. It is in your name, all of your names, and in the name of all that is just and good and sacred and holy that we pray. Let all who agree now say, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Guidry, for that moving prayer. And thank you to the Spelman College Glee Club for that beautiful selection. It is now my distinct privilege to invite to the podium the 10th president of Spelman College, Dr. Mary Schmidt Campbell.
Thank you, Vice President Burnett. Congratulations, class of 2022. This afternoon, I have the great privilege to introduce our distinguished commencement speaker and Spelman alumna, Stacy Yvonne Abrams, class of '95. Ms. Abrams is a Yale-trained tax attorney, entrepreneur, writer, and small business owner. She co-founded Now Account, a financial services firm that helps Georgia small businesses access capital, grow their operations, and create jobs. She's also the CEO of SageWorks Productions, a production company in Georgia with several projects under development. In her various leadership roles, Stacy has hired and employed Georgians in every region of the state, including hundreds of young people beginning their careers. Her executive experience includes founding and implementing strategic plans for New Georgia Project, focused on voter registration. Fair Fight Action and Fair Fight PAC, focused on protecting voting rights. And Fair Count, dedicated to meaningful participation in the census and civic engagement. She also founded and served as executive director of the Southern Economic Advancement Project, which develops and promotes policy solutions to challenges in Georgia and neighboring southern states. First elected to the Georgia House of Representatives in 2006, Stacy quickly became known for her expertise and ability to explain complicated tax and legal questions, and she earned a reputation for working across party lines to pass legislation. In 2010, Stacy became House Democratic leader in the Georgia General Assembly, the first woman to lead either party in the state legislature, and the first Black Georgian to lead in the House of Representatives. Stacy graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies from Spelman College and was named a Harry S. Truman Scholar. After Spelman, she received a master's degree from the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin and a JD from Yale Law. In 2017, Stacy was awarded the college's highest honorary distinction, the Doctor of Law, honoris causa. Stacy is a New York Times best-selling author. She has written 8 romantic suspense novels under the pen name Selena Montgomery. And in addition, her book, Lead from the Outside, is designed as a guidebook on making real change in the civic sector, politics, or the private sector. In December 2021, her children's book, Stacy's Extraordinary Words, was released and is based on the NAACP's Image Award recipient's childhood. We are so proud to have Stacy Abrams with us today To deliver the keynote address to our graduates, please join me in welcoming to the podium Ms. Stacy Yvonne Abrams.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Thank you, Board Chair Roz Brewer. Thank you to the faculty and staff, to the family and friends, but most importantly, thank you to the class of 2022. Now, it was 27 years ago that I sat where you sat. I graduated in 1995, and while my years at Spelman were not marked by a pandemic, racial upheaval, and, well, the Kardashians ending their show, I began my time at Spelman immersed in some turmoil. But my beginning at Spelman was also a bit of a drama. You see, I didn't want to go to Spelman. I grew up in Gulfport, Mississippi. Yes. We moved to Georgia when I was a junior in high school. I was 16 when we moved here, and I was just old enough to date. My parents didn't allow us to date till we were 16. There was no one for me when we first got here, and I had always attended schools where I didn't often see someone who was a potential around me. And then I found him, and we broke up, and it was a whole other story. But by the time I was thinking of Spelman College, I was thinking about getting out of the South. You see, when you grow up in Mississippi and come of age in Georgia, the North looks really inviting. Now, technically I was born in Wisconsin. I just remember being cold and eating cheese curds. And so I applied to colleges outside of the South, to Swarthmore and Vassar, to Sarah Lawrence. But my mother, Carolyn Abrams, had a different idea. She said, well, Stacy, just apply to Spelman. You don't have to go, just apply. I should have known it was a trick. But I filled out my application and I submitted it. And then we received that letter that tells you that Spelman College wants you. I got that letter, and it went into the stack with my other letters, and I was prepared to ignore it. And my mom said, just go visit. You don't have to attend, just go visit. It would have meant 2 days out of school, which was appealing, because I had senioritis in my second grade. And so the opportunity to visit Spelman College did have its appeal, so I agreed to go and visit. And 3 things happened. One, I met my fellow Spelmanites. I met young women who were extraordinary and so different and so diverse in ways I'd never imagined. Number 2, I met Dr. Campbell's predecessor, Dr. Janetta B. Cole. And 3, as I mentioned, I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16. I saw Morehouse College. And just, lo and behold, I became a Spelmanite. But how I got to Spelman is not nearly as important as what I got from Spelman. You see, in my first year in that college, I was a shy, quiet person. I didn't consider myself shy, I just didn't like other people. But what I realized was that I was afraid of being different. I was not what I believed to be the typical Spelman student. I didn't look like everyone, I didn't sound like everyone. My roommate was from a place she called Detroit. I realized she meant Detroit. I was meeting people who had so many experiences that were unlike my own, and I was broke. My family was what my mother called the genteel poor. We had no money, but we watched PBS and we read books. I spent a lot of time in financial aid. I spent that first year at Spelman trying to figure out where would I fit in. And 2 things occurred. I became a nuisance to Janetta Cole. I would go to her office almost every week to complain about some new injustice that I saw on our campus. I was so annoying to her that she finally said, "Stacy, just run for student class, but, just get out of my office." She said it much more nicely, but I could read between the lines. So I ran for my freshman class council. But later that year, the second thing happened. Rodney King was beaten, and his case went to trial. And the men who had misused their power, who had on camera denied his dignity and abused his humanity, were released, were exonerated, were told they had done nothing wrong. There are those who refer to it as riots. I just refer to it as an uprising, because from California to Atlanta, Black folks understood the message that we were being told. And as a student at Spelman College, I didn't like what I was hearing. And so with my fellow Spelmanites, I became outraged and angry. I organized a march from our campus down to City Hall. And one night, we were enraged and we were engaged and we were ready to go. The next morning, riots, as they called them, started breaking out. There were protests around our campus and around our city and just outside our gates. Those protests were protests that did not care whether you were supposed to be on our campus or off. These were protests about the indignities faced by too many people whose skin color was an inconvenience to too many others. And in that moment, I realized that my attendance at Spelman College didn't change my background and wouldn't change my future unless I understood my lessons at Spelman College. So in my dorm room, when they were reporting what was happening and they were misreporting the information, and this for you guys was before this thing called the internet, we got on the phone. I organized 15 of my fellow classmates to call all of the television stations and block their phone lines until they started telling the truth. In those phone calls, and just so you understand, we had touch tone, it was hard. But in that moment, one of my friends came to me and said, "I keep calling, but they want to know who I am, and I don't want to give them my name." I said, "Just tell them you're me." I did not think this through. Because suddenly there were dozens of young women calling these television stations saying, "I'm Stacey Abrams." And finally, the dean at the time, Dean Freddie Hill, sent someone to my dorm to come and get the real Stacey Abrams. I was invited to an event, a simulcast with Mayor Maynard Jackson. And standing toe-to-toe with him, but very low beneath him, he was a very tall man, I assailed him and accused him of not caring enough about our people, not caring enough about the young people on the campuses or on the streets. I told him that I thought he was not doing his job as mayor. He proceeded to correct me, and in that skirmish, he won. But what happened next changed my life. You see, a few months later, Maynard Jackson invited me to become the first student employee at the Office of Youth Services that he had just created at the city of Atlanta. Now, I tell you that story not for self-aggrandizement, but to anchor myself in your moment, because as much as we are still grappling with the implications of a pandemic that has taken 1 million American lives, while we grapple with the implications of a broken health system that has let too many of our people perish or suffer unnecessarily, we also are facing a continued ill of racism and civic injustice, of social injustice and economic injustice, and we have to be bold in our ambition to say enough is enough. And what we were working on in 1992 and 2022, I believe you will get done. Because soon we will be done with the troubles of this world if you live up to your potential and you do what I know you can do. In 1992, I was a Spelman student who believed that racism and poverty were immoral, that they were stains on our lives, but more importantly, they were inefficient. How much greater would we be as a nation if every young Black woman woke up every morning knowing her potential and seeing her possibility? How much stronger would we be if every community of color, instead of being pitted against one another, linked arms together? How much greater would we be as a nation of people where we acknowledge race, but know that race does not determine our value or our future? I was doing that in 1992. But in 2022, I have a different understanding. I've taken lessons from those years and I've brought them to this moment, and with your indulgence, I will share them with you. Number one, be bold in your ambitions. You may have noticed I've gotten in trouble a little bit in the last few years for being a bit too forthright about my intentions. When people ask me questions about what I want, I don't coyly duck my head or cover my mouth and giggle. If you ask me if I want to be the vice president, I say yes. You want to know if I want to be president? I say yes. If I want to be governor, the answer is yes. There are those who hear in that an arrogance. They hear in that an audacity that should be shameful and should be repulsed. But I was taught at Spelman College to be bold in my ambitions, to believe that I am capable of whatever I can imagine. Because the boldness of my ambition said that we can register thousands of Georgians to vote and cast their ballots and make their voices heard. My ambition said that we can call out the challenges we see and work our hands to make it better. When I was 17, then 18, I was in the college lab, the computer lab, because I had another ambition. I was dating this guy named Chad. We won't talk too much about him, but he broke up with me. And he told me that I was too involved in other things. I didn't pay enough attention to him. So I cried. I may have plotted a little bit. And then I went to the computer lab. And that day I put together a spreadsheet of all of the things I was going to do to show him he was wrong for letting me go. On my spreadsheet, Dr. Campbell, I said one day I will write a best-selling novel. I said I would become a millionaire by the age of 30. I was way off. I said that I would become the mayor of the city of Atlanta because that was the highest ambition I could imagine for a black woman in politics. I wrote it down, and for the next 25 years, I nurtured and cultured that list. I changed some of the words. I rearranged some of the dates. The guy I was going to meet who was going to replace Chad still hasn't shown up, but he's still on the list. But what I anchored for myself that day, what I want you to hear, is that I let myself be bold in my ambitions. I did not doubt myself or edit myself or tell myself I wasn't enough. That is what Spelman is about. Spelman is about reminding us that we were enough when we got there, and now we know how to get to the next place. Now we know how to rise to the next level. That is the legacy of Spelman. But it was also at Spelman College that I learned that part of being bold in your ambition is acknowledging your fear. You see, it turns out I wasn't shy. I was just afraid of making mistakes. I was afraid of saying the wrong thing, being the wrong person, dreaming the wrong dreams. I was afraid of being seen and being heard. I was afraid of me. And for so many years, we have been told to be fearless. That is the dumbest advice I have ever heard. Fear is real, and it's usually a warning. It's a caution to us not to not act, but to understand what we're facing. I believe in embracing my fear. I take it out to lunch. Because if we are afraid of sexism, if we are afraid of racism, if we are afraid of success, if we are afraid of the limits of access, that's okay. We need to know our fears, name our fears, number our fears, and then conquer our fears. Never let anyone tell you it's wrong to be afraid. Fear is healthy. It is caving into fear that's dangerous. You see, I'm not afraid of fighting against those who tell me that we can't have economic justice in America because they're wrong and I'm right. I'm not afraid of saying that we should all have the right to voice our opinions in our elections, whether we agree with each other or not. I'm not afraid of these things because I understand why fear happens. It happens because sometimes in our guts, we know that if we acknowledge our fears and embrace our fears, we may beat our best ambition. I want you to hold on to your fear, get to know it, give it a name, give it a nickname. but never give it control. The other part of being bold in your ambition is knowing the difference between humility and self-effacement. Now, I'm sure none of you have ever had this happen when you were the one to solve a problem, find an answer, get something done, and then you're like, well, it wasn't just me. You see, there's going to be a time, especially for Black women, where we are cautioned against taking credit for our work. We are told that that's obnoxious. No. You see, what's obnoxious is letting someone else take credit for what you've done. What's obnoxious is denying your capacity, because when you tell yourself you aren't enough, when you allow others to tell you you're not enough, then slowly you become not enough. I don't believe in self-effacement. I do not agree with this idea that there is something Southern about denying my capacity. I do believe in humility, because not a single one of you sits here alone. None of you made it here alone, none of you made it through alone, and none of you will make it any further alone. Humility says, I can do it, I just can do it with others. Humility says, I can do it well, I'm just not the only one who can. I want you to toss aside the notions of self-effacement, the way we are told to navigate our spaces, by ducking our heads and batting our eyes and pretending we didn't get it done. Move forward bold in ambition, holding on but not being controlled by fear, but always with humility, never with reducing yourself to what someone else thinks you should be. So number one, I need you to be bold in your ambition. Say, bold in my ambition. Number two, I need you to learn your losses. Sorry, that's wrong. I need you to learn your lessons, not your losses. I get confused sometimes because I've recently had a public loss. You may have heard about it. And there are those who think that because I didn't become governor in 2018, that I should have gone about my business, that I should have taken my toys and gone home, that I should be quiet and sit still. There are those who think that when you don't win those things you try for, that your failure defines you. It is not failure that defines you, it is your response to failure that tells you who you are. I learned at Spelman to learn my lessons, not my losses. Whether it was somebody breaking up with me making a mistake in class, me getting the first C I've ever gotten in my life, and I'm still mad about it. But it was also the loss of friends, the loss of opportunity. You're going to face a great deal of loss. But when we focus on not getting, we ignore what we have received. You see, I didn't receive the title of governor. You're not entitled to win an election. You're not entitled to power. You're not entitled to success, but we are all entitled to access. And that is one lesson I learned in 2018. You see, I stood for governor not because I wanted a title, but because I said I wanted to do the work. And when I didn't get the title, I still had the work to do. I wasn't exempted because I didn't get the platform. But this is a lesson I learned at Spelman, that my lesson was that you still have work to do, even if those you want to serve haven't told you to come on. That not getting everything you want doesn't mean you got nothing from it. I learned my lesson that it was enough to try if I was willing to try again and try again and try again. I was enough if I was willing to take the promises I made and put them into action. And because I had a little time off, I did a lot during the last 4 years. I learned that failure is inevitable, but it is not permanent. That moment where you think that you have lost everything, when you made a mistake and everyone saw it, and thank God I did not come of age during the internet. Lord love a duck, what would happen right now? But what I do know is that the feeling that you get, this idea that because you stumbled and you fell that nothing else will be that good again, is wrong. You are going to stumble, you are going to make mistakes, you are going to do your very best, and it will not be enough. But learn your lesson, not your losses. Understand that you tried, and if you didn't do everything, investigate. What could you have done? What should you have done? What did you miss? But when you're doing that investigation, don't leave the other side out. There are rarely times where we fail because it was all our fault. And part of learning your lessons is making sure you understand your side of the ledger and the other side. Because in our life, in our society, sometimes all the burden is on us. But the lesson I've learned is that it's not all on me. Success or failure, victory or failure, moving forward or moving backwards, I have to look at what I can do, but I've got to do my part to understand what other people should do. And if we do it right, the next time we try, we bring them along with us or we shut them up altogether. Progress is victory. I got in trouble in 2018 when I didn't become governor because I was bold in my pronouncement and audacious in my language, and I said to a group of people over and over again in many different states that I am not the governor of Georgia, I'm not confused. But then I followed with this: I won. I won. Now, it causes people an itch. It makes them angry because how dare I claim I won? Because you see, I've been black a long time. I've been a woman my whole life. I've been a black woman in the South for as long as I can remember, and I know that sometimes success is just progress. That is a victory, and I am going to claim the victory every time I can. Because when you claim those victories, you create space for the next victory to come. We've got to learn our lessons, and part of the lesson is that sometimes victory doesn't look the same for us as it does for everyone else. But when we hold ourselves accountable to a standard without also setting our own, then we are living someone else's life and playing someone else's game. I learn my lessons, not my losses. I will come back and try again, but I will set my own metric. I will do it in my own time and in my own way, and if I do it right, the next time, victory will be even sweeter. So first, I need you all to be bold in your ambition. See, bold in my ambition. And I need you to learn your lessons, not my losses. And last, I need you to know what you believe. Say, know what I believe? Don't believe too much. Part of my job when I was in the State House of Representatives was to be the leader of the Democrats. But that wasn't my title. My title was minority leader. They put in my title that I was about to lose. If you're doing the math, if you are in the minority and the other guy's title is majority leader, the imbalance is kind of obvious from the beginning. I used to tell my colleagues that minority leader was just Greek for lose well. But then I got into my job and I started understanding what my opportunity was. You see, when I stood for leader, when I asked my colleagues to let me have that job, I told them, look, I've been a minority for a very long time. I am really good at it. You all, for most of your lives, for most of your ambitions, for most of your lessons, will be in the technical minority. But if you know what you believe about yourself and about your work and about your purpose, then you will never be in the minority. I understand what I believe. I wrote it down. When I stood for office in 2006, I had a set of things I thought I knew to be true, but I was going to have the chance for the first time in my life to impose my truths on others. It is a very, very seductive notion, being able to make other people do what you want, believe what you want, live as you would have them live. But it was here at Spelman College that I understood that to know what I believed was to live my values every day. You see, when I was a student at Spelman College, I became the student body vice president as a junior. And we were in the midst of a very tumultuous time, a conversation about the role of sexuality and sexual orientation on college campuses. You guys wouldn't be familiar with that at all. In 1994, as the student body vice president, it was up to me to decide whether we allowed a student organization on campus. It was going to be the first lesbian-led organization on our campus that we acknowledged. There were friends of mine who did not speak to me after I signed the piece of paper saying that yes, indeed, we were going to allow this organization to be on Spelman's campus. There were those who told me, well, Stacy, you're a Christian. You can't possibly believe this is right. So I went back to my Bible. Talked to my parents. My parents are both United Methodist ministers. That's why we came to Georgia. And what my parents told me is that your faith is a shield to protect, not a sword to strike people down. They told me to know what I believe. And so, even though I had to have security at the dorm, I lived in LLC 2 by then, I'd moved on up. Even though I had to have security at the dorm, sometimes after we let that decision come to fruition, I never regretted it for a moment because I knew what I believed. When people try to assail who you are, if you know what you believe, then you don't have to listen to their lies. When you know what you believe, you can withstand the assaults, and you can also withstand the silence. Because it's not the people who yell at you, it's the people who turn away from you that will hurt the most. It's not the ones who deny you in public, it's the ones who get to return your call or say they didn't see your text. And as you make more and more important decisions, as you rise in this world, as I know you will, you have to know what you believe, because sometimes belief alone is what keeps you aloft. When I decided to run for the state legislature, I had to decide what I believed about reproductive choice. I had to decide what I believed about poverty and taxes, what I believed about mass incarceration and the death penalty. I had to make a list of beliefs, and when I realized what I was doing, I started writing it down, because you see, I wanted to know what my beliefs are versus my opinions. See, an opinion is something you think you know. A belief is something you're willing to fight for. Know the difference between your beliefs and your opinions, and never let your opinions drive your future. You see, I've evolved over time. When I was a student at Spelman, I had very different opinions. But because of my lessons, Dr. Campbell, because of what I learned, Chairman Brewer, I understood that it wasn't enough to say I thought something to be true. I learned at Spelman to do my research, to investigate my hypothesis, to test and evaluate my evidence, to draw my conclusions, and then to come back and see if I could replicate the experiment. When you know what you believe, you are willing to question yourself and make certain that the person you are is the person you want to be. It is easy to say I believe, but it is hard to live those beliefs if they are not true and deep. But while we do that, when we know what we believe, we've got to create space for other people's beliefs. And that's one of the hardest parts of leadership. It's one of the hardest parts of success. It's one of the most difficult parts of being in this world. I have very strong beliefs. I am so invested in my beliefs, I raise millions of dollars to make it so. That's a lot of begging. But those beliefs anchor me and they lift me up. They give me purpose and give shape and meaning to my life. But the thing of it is, they mean nothing if I don't create space to understand other people's beliefs. If I am not willing to create space and investigate their thinking, then I am not doing my job. You see, when I was in the legislature, there was a gentleman named Bobby Franklin. For those of you who've paid attention during your time in Georgia, if you're not from here, he's from East Cobb County. Yes. For anyone else, the translation is we did not agree on stuff. Bobby once said that even though we read the Bible, he thought mine was missing a few pages. He was so far to the right, and I was, in his mind, so far to the left, we just met on the other side. But Bobby and I became friends because when we would talk about issues, there were moments where we agreed on outcome, just not on intention. And part of leadership, part of success, part of progress is creating space that sometimes you don't get to the same place for the same reason, but you can be on the same train. When we are willing to understand other people's beliefs, when we're willing to give them a space to be heard, we become better people. Now, I'm not saying you have to adopt those beliefs. I'm not even saying you have to like them. But you have to listen to them. You have to learn from them, for no other reason, so that you can successfully rebut them when you're in the debating stage. But I know that I am a better leader because I've worked with people I don't agree with. I know I'm a better friend because I listen to ideas and beliefs that I don't hold. I know I'm a better human because I'm willing to investigate truths that are not my own. I'm a better ally because I know that there is more to the world than me. When you know what you believe and you don't believe too much, you create space for growth and progress. You create space for transformation. You create space for tomorrow. When Dr. Campbell invited me to address this class, she let me know that this would be her last year. And I want to take a moment and thank her for the 7 years of extraordinary leadership she has provided to my college. But I'm also here to say thank you to you. Because as you commence, as you begin the next phase of your lives, as you turn those tassels and you throw those caps in the air never to be seen again, as you worry about financial aid payments that will begin in 6 to 8 months, and you worry about the decisions that you've made, I am here to tell you you're all right. You've done your best. You have learned your lessons, not your losses. You are on the cusp of knowing what you believe. You are ready to be bold in your ambitions and to lead the future. When I was at Spelman, we had a different motto emblazoned across the front, but I like what you all have today. You have a choice in this space. You have a choice in this moment. Class of 2022, you have a choice in this world. And I am here to say thank you, 27 years on, because you have a choice to change the world. So let's get it done. Thank you so much.
Stacey Abrams, be bold in your ambition. Thank you for that inspiring message. I now invite Spelman College Board of Trustees Chair Rosalind Brewer, Class of '84, to the podium to present the National Community Service Award.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Spelman College, I am honored to present the Spelman College National Community Service Award. This award acknowledges the recipient's commitment to service in alignment with Spelman's mission to teach and inspire women of African descent to choose to change the world. We celebrate the work they have led, which has transformed political and artistic communities, neighborhoods, cities, states, and the nation. Our first award recipient is a Spelman daughter, our Spelman sister, and your commencement speaker. The highlights of her background and experiences shared by President Campbell provide a glimpse of why we think she is worthy of this recognition. And if there was any doubt, today's address should make it clear that Stacey Abrams is making the choice every day to change the world. I cannot overstate the impact she has had on issues at the heart of our democracy, like voter protections, civic engagement, and social and economic equity. Through her writings, speeches, advocacy, and activism, volunteer efforts, and committee service, her voice and vision enter homes and hearts across the country, in fact, the entire globe, and are heard in elite political and legal spaces. As the first Black woman to become the gubernatorial nominee for a majority party in the United States, and the first Black woman and first Georgian to deliver a response to the State of the Union, she embodies the idea that representation matters. By showing up and speaking out, she motivates and inspires. She signals possibility. She signals accountability. I am so proud to present the Spelman College 2022 National Community Service Award to my sister and my dear friend, Stacey Abrams. Our next recipient is an artistic leader, director, playwright, producer, and equally as important, a member of the class of 2000. Spelman women are awesome. Hannah Sharif became the first Black woman to lead a major regional theater in 2018 when she was named the Augustin Family Artistic Director of the Repertory Theater of St. Louis. Like many Spelman women, she began her professional career as an undergraduate student. From 1997 to 2003, she served as the co-founder and artistic director of the Nazar Productions, a theater dedicated to underrepresented voices challenging traditional culture and structure. She guided the organization through a strategic alignment, expanding access to underserved communities and centering equity and anti-racism as the organization's foundational values. She joined the Tony Award-winning regional theater, Hartford Stage, in 2003. During her decade-long tenure at Hartford Stage, she served as the Associate Artistic Director, Director of New Play Development, and Artistic Producer. She launched the New Play Development Program, expanded the community engagement and civic discourse initiatives, and developed and produced Tony, Grammy, Pulitzer, and Obie Award-winning shows. Whoa. Hannah's success is born from her belief that art has a real role in helping to transform our communities and our society. She focuses on a series of questions to guide her work and provide the foundation for what we are convinced will be a lasting national legacy. Those questions include, what is the essential human need that connects communities? And then, how do we create art that serves that? How do we create art that amplifies the best of us? How do we create art that allows us to look in some incredibly challenging ways at ourselves and the world around us? How do we create art that liberates us? How do we use art to allow our surrounding communities to tell their own stories and amplify their own voices? For her accomplishments, seen and unseen, and her dedication to living a life of service to the voiceless, I am pleased to present Ms. Hannah Sharif, Class of 2000, with the 2022 National Community Service Award, and to give her an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you so much, President Campbell, Chairwoman Brewer, and the Board of Trustees for your extraordinary stewardship of our beloved institution. To my beautiful Spelman sisters, the Diamond Daughters and the Golden Girls on whose shoulders we all stand, to my own Rebel Class of 2000, and most importantly, to the dynamic Class of 2022, it is a profound gift to stand with you. It is one of the greatest honors of my life to join the ranks of these extraordinary women who have inspired me and my life's work. 4 years ago, each of you made one of the most monumental decisions of your life, a decision which profoundly placed your feet on the path of servant leadership. Day one of African Diaspora in the World, or ADW, reminded us that we are part of a continuum that birthed civilization, that our lives are indelibly intertwined, and inherent in that legacy is the moral imperative of a life of service.
It was in the wee hours of a humid August morning in 1996 that I felt the first ripple of the ancestors ring shouting me forward as I stood in the sacred walls of Sisters Chapel and shouted my name alongside my classmates into the universe to join the thousands of women that came before us in ritual. We are not on this journey alone. We are part of a continuum of women who dedicated their lives to the elevation and liberation of humanity. And it is only now, as you exit the hallowed halls of Spelman College, that you will come to know, as all of your beloved alumni sisters know, a choice to change the world is not merely a motto, it is a calling, it is a prophecy, it is a prayer. You are embarking on a world that was not built for you, a world that does not understand you, a world that is confused by your intellect, passion, vision, and promise, a world that has never been able to conceptualize Black femme leadership because it was not forged by savage individuality, but instead nurtured in the womb of our collective humanity. You are entering a world that cannot conceive you but so desperately needs you. A world that desperately needs your ingenuity, your idealism, your entrepreneurship, your tenacity, your fearlessness, your faith in action. You are not merely your ancestors' wildest dreams. You are the physical and spiritual embodiment of their labor. You are moving with the infinite power of generations of Black womanhood throughout history. It is in this country's darkest hours that it has looked to Black women to put on our capes without recognition or high honor and reshape the world. And like our beloved sister Stacey Abrams, who showed up in the spirit of the late great Shirley Chisholm, with a folding chair, a bullhorn, a box full of voter registration ballots, and wrestled America back from the edge of the abyss. There is a calling on your life. I want you to know that a choice to change the world is not just found in the great leaps and the broad strokes of justice. It is in your everyday choices. It is in lacing up your boots on the hard days. It is in tucking in at bedtime, followed by budget reconciliations to the wee hours of the morning. It is helping pick up the broken pieces of your partner or yourself after the storm. And it is in the revolutionary acts of self-love and self-care. My beautiful sisters in the class of 2022, there is an anointing on your life. Today, as you begin to answer the clarion call of our most sacred creed, a choice to change the world, I want you to take a moment and speak your name and honor the wombs that bore you. I am Hannah Sadaka Sharif, daughter of Wanda Leah Katala Sharif, granddaughter of Beverly Eunice Royster Katala and Wilma Nell Babineau Sprott Taft, great-granddaughter of Rosalie Cormier Babineau, Myrtle Mills Sprott, Dolly Green Royster, Simona Ramos Yikatala, and great-great-granddaughter to the multitudes. I come as one, but I stand as 10,000, and I thank God every day, for God could have made me anything in the world, but chose to make me a Spelman woman.
Yes, right? Thank you, Hannah Sharif. Spelman College is pleased to confer the honorary degree on individuals of outstanding achievement and accomplishments. This year, we have the privilege of honoring an exceptional individual whose accomplishments reflect a lifelong commitment to the arts and humanities, the rights of women, and the marginalized in our country and the world. Vice President Burnett, please join me at the podium to present the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, to Dr. Elizabeth Alexander.
President Campbell, upon the recommendation of the faculty and vote of the Board of Trustees of Spelman College, I have the pleasure of presenting to you Dr. Elizabeth Alexander, candidate for the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Dr. Elizabeth Alexander is a decorated poet, educated memoirist, scholar, and cultural advocate. She currently serves as the president of the Mellon Foundation, the nation's largest funder in arts, culture, and humanities in higher education. With more than 2 decades of experience leading innovative programs in education, philanthropy, and advocacy, Dr. Alexander builds partnerships at Mellon to support the arts and humanities while strengthening educational institutions and cultural organizations around the world. Prior to joining the foundation, Dr. Alexander served as the Director of Creativity and Free Expression at the Ford Foundation, shaping Ford's grant-making vision in arts, culture, journalism, and documentary film. There, she co-designed the Art for Justice Fund, an initiative that uses art and advocacy to address the crisis of mass incarceration, and guided the organization in examining how the arts and visual storytelling can empower communities. Dr. Alexander began her career in higher education and has taught and inspired a generation of students. In 1997, she was the Grace Hazard Conkling Poet in Residence and the inaugural director of the Poetry Center at Smith College. Between 2000 and 2015, Dr. Alexander taught at Yale University, where she was a professor and chair for 4 years, helping to rebuild the school's African American Studies Department. She was appointed Yale University's inaugural Frederick Eisman Professor of Poetry and was the Wan Sun Tam Mellon Professor in the Humanities at Columbia University from 2015 until joining the foundation in 2018. An author or co-author of 15 books, Dr. Alexander was twice a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry with American Sublime and for biography with her 2015 memoir, The Light of the World. In 2009, Dr. Alexander composed and delivered the poem Praise Song for the Day for President Barack Obama's inauguration. Her latest book, released in 2022, is The Trayvon Generation, a book described by the New York Times as a profound and lyrical meditation on race, class, justice, and their intersections with art. Dr. Alexander earned a BA from Yale University and an MA from Boston University and a PhD in English from the University of Pennsylvania. She holds honorary doctorates from a number of colleges and universities around the country. She is also Chancellor Emeritus of the Academy of American Poets, a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and serves on the board of the Pulitzer Prize. Spelman College proudly bestows upon her its highest honor. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Spelman College, I confer upon you, Dr. Elizabeth Alexander, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the honors, rights, and privileges appertaining thereto. Congratulations, Dr. Alexander, and welcome to the Spelman family.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you, President Campbell, for that introduction and for the invitation to be part of today. I would like to thank the Spelman faculty and Board of Trustees for recommending and approving me for this recognition. I am thrilled to share the stage with Stacey Abrams and Hannah Sharif. And I would like to congratulate the seniors and the unprecedented 5 co-valedictorians, I never heard of such a thing, from the remarkable Spelman class of 2022. To receive this honorary degree as we mark the conclusion of President Campbell's leadership here is a special honor. Dr. Campbell, you are someone I have learned from and revered for decades. I met her first on the page, reading her groundbreaking work on Romare Bearden as I researched my own dissertation. The greatest museum on earth, as you may know, is a Black museum, the Studio Museum in Harlem, and I watched her lead that to further greatness. As New York Commissioner of Cultural Affairs and head of the Tisch School, she has always exemplified the importance of supporting artists and creative vision. For without vision, the people perish. We all aspire to Dr. Campbell's standard. I am in your debt and will continue to be inspired by you. And I have also, I must say, taught in my career as a professor many Spelman alums in PhD programs at the University of Chicago and Yale, and know firsthand how Spelman women were always the gold standard in my classrooms, including one of my very first graduate students who is on your faculty now, Dr. Melanie Mims McKee, who was one of the first people who I had the privilege of mentoring. I also want to mention that I have learned deeply and lovingly as a colleague from your legendary faculty member, Dr. Beverly Guy Sheftal. With her warmth, humor, and brilliance, she has showed us that race and gender are never separable as we do our scholarship and analyze the world, and that Black women's history and culture are the most infinitely interesting topics you could ever want to study. I love you, Beverly, and as one of your countless daughters in the Academy, I say thank you. And finally, I must once again invoke the name of the original sister president, Dr. Johnetta Cole, who I invoke today. There is too much to say about her, but I am honored to call her a mentor to me and a mother to my mind. When I became president of the Mellon Foundation, she was the first to call and ask to speak to Sister President. And that set me on my path, as she has set so many on their path. And for all these reasons and connections, I am so honored to be here today. And so just a few more words to remind us, before Black women were allowed to vote, before we were allowed to enter public libraries, before we were allowed to attend state universities, visit public museums, sit in public concert halls, lecture halls, symphony halls, we were welcomed here and to the transcendent power of higher education. We were invited here to engage in the life of the mind, the liberation that comes with deep reading, deep knowledge, and deep study. It was here that we could find the community that comes with learning in community, and so here you all were brought into community that will be with you for life. We Black women would not have survived without possessing and developing multiple strands of knowledge that form the critical consciousness and empowerment we all need to move through this complicated world. We are the offspring of people who survived when they were not meant to, and we bloomed. Each of us is a benefactor of that grit, tenacity, and genius of body and spirit with more than a little good fortune thrown in. Our amazing history and culture are yours to carry forward. I did not have the privilege to be formally educated in the company of all Black women, but my education would have been meager without the community of Black women I made within it. As an undergraduate, as a graduate student, as a young professor, as a medium professor, as a poet and writer in broader artistic circles, as I moved into philanthropy, as I continue to learn and grow, stay grounded, and face challenges. It is the community of Black women, communities of Black women I am part of and I gather, that are my soil, my sky, and my sun. There is no excellence, no safety, no risk, and insufficient joy without sister communities. My soil, my sky, my sun. And so today, seeing you seated before us, a sea of beauty, I am reminded, as others have invoked, of the beautiful, beautiful motto, the choice to change the world. And I want to say also again that this is a community's joyous moment. The community made up not only of your parents, siblings, grandparents, aunties, uncles, teachers, friends, and everyone who has encouraged and supported your growth. And those of us who do not know you look at you with love and inspiration. Thank you. You inspire us. As you enter this stage of your lives, you are becoming citizens in new ways with responsibilities and possibilities in the communities you come from, choose, and create. And because you are children of the African diaspora, you have the advantage of a truly great and rich history to teach you as you imagine the future. I urge you to live fully, consciously, and never forget joyously. Each ion of joy and kindness we put out in the world countermands the extreme violence that rends this planet. Living joyously is a dead serious choice that I believe is our only choice. And in that choice, joy, is infinite possibility and strength. I thank the Spelman community for this tremendous recognition and distinction. And Spelman class of 2022, I cannot wait to see what you will do. Thank you.
Dr. Alexander, thank you for those inspiring words. And now we'll hear from our Spelman College Glee Club.
It's my choice, and I choose to change the world. It's my voice, and I speak with pride and courage. I'll be the change I want to see. I'll scream out loud and say, it's my choice, and I choose to change the world. Why put off for tomorrow what I can do today? Why wait for another when I can pave the way? No matter how young or old, I hold the power of change. Whether large or small,
Let's thank again the senior members of our outstanding Glee Club. And also to the entire Glee Club under the direction of Dr. Kevin Johnson. We applaud you as well. It is now my great honor to introduce you to the 5 valedictorians in the class of 2022. This is the first time in the college's history that we have had 5 valedictorians. We celebrate each of you on this historic accomplishment. At this time, I will invite each valedictorian to the podium to deliver valedictory remarks to their class, immediately followed by the senior class president, who will introduce us to the class of 2022.
family, friends, and loved ones near and far, I thank each and every one of you for being here with us today and for nurturing us to this point of arrival. Simply put, we would not be here without you. Now, to my brilliant, bold, and beautiful classmates, the incredible graduates of Spelman College in the class of 2022, we did it, y'all. My name is Nyla Rain Barnes. Yeah. I am an international studies and French double major with concentrations in curatorial and cultural studies from Deerfield, Massachusetts. I am immensely honored and proud to be able to address you all on this historic day. The message that I would like to share with you all this afternoon is embedded within one of my earliest memories at Spelman. During my first year, I lived in LLC 1 on the 3rd floor with my Bonner sisters, a cohort of Spelman students dedicated to civic engagement and community service. My Bonner sisters embraced me with open arms and have remained some of my closest friends. Many of my most important lessons are tied to the sisterhood I built with these amazing women. One such moment occurred early in our time at Spelman as first years. Midway through our first semester, Armani and Taylor, two of my Bonner sisters, bought emotional support beta fish and named them Dolce and Gabbana, appropriate names for some of the most glamorous pets ever. The two betas became an instant and important part of our Bonner community as both reliable comfort and an integral part of the family, like my granddad, who shuttled me and my Bonner sisters to and from local public schools for our various service projects. Beta fish naturally don't live very long, 5 years at most if you're lucky. But the day Gabbana drifted to the top of the tank and his soul lifted skyward was a dark day. Armani was distraught. Seeing our sister in despair, the Bonner Hall did the only thing that made sense. We combined all of our talents and skills to give our family member a proper send-off. Gabbana the beta fish got the works, a full homegoing ceremony in our common room, including a processional, an obituary, and a eulogy delivered by Kiva, who poured water out and chanted Ashe for other fallen fish friends, including but not limited to Nemo's mom, Flounder, who we did not know had died, and Ponyo. We came dressed in our funeral best, all black and fascinators, and ended with a burial ceremony in the 3rd stall of the hall bathroom. The sound of the flush sent Armani into a tizzy, but all 20 of us piled into that stall and caught her as she crumpled under the weight of her grief. There we were, mere weeks away from having been complete strangers, piled together in this bathroom stall sharing an intimate, silly moment as sisters. That's the beauty of Spelman, the easiness and depth of sisterhood. There is something inherently uncomplicated about a fish funeral compared to many of the things we have faced over the past 4 years. An ongoing global pandemic, bomb threats, attacks on our corporal autonomy as women and as human beings, and the mundane discomforts of life in undergrad, like when Mr. Hibachi, the sushi roll guy, stopped working at the CAF. Yet no matter the occasion, I trust my Spelman sisters and siblings to have my back, for heaven knows that each of us have had our own moments of immense sadness and grief where we needed our sisters. Moments when another Spelmanite was the one who held us as you cried about a fish, a fail, or a family member. The instances in which our emotions rule, maybe goofiness, maybe grief, always love, define us and our sisterhood. The moments when we lean into the uniquely Spelman sentiment of, I don't even know her, but I love her completely. Class of 2022, hang on and nurture this sacred sisterhood, this siblinghood, this family, forever and always. For it is a sustainable refuge for all of us in a way that fleeting accomplishments, while amazing, will never be. Take ample time to remember your early moments from your trajectory here at Spelman that define you. And in the coming days, weeks, months, and years, Remember yourselves, picking up the pieces that may have been scattered along the way as we have braved an enormous storm and emerged on the other side, yes, victorious, but in need of tremendous self-preservation and community uplift. This sentiment highlights the nature of the Spelman sisterhood and siblinghood at its finest. We challenge and drive each other. We are silly and carefree Black girls together, and most importantly, when we collapse because the depth of our fish gets to be too much, our Spelman sisters and siblings will always pile into the bathroom to catch us. I cannot say thank you enough for an incredible 4 years. I love you all on a deep, visceral level that only a Spelman College alumna will understand. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Chicks. I am a graduating chemistry major from Maryland, and I am proud to speak to you today as one of the valedictorians of the class of 2022. I remember when I first came to Spelman, not truly knowing the significance of the opportunity I was being presented with. The chance to cultivate lifelong bonds with many of you, to be a witness and partaker in the multifaceted essence of Black womanhood, and most daunting, to be a recipient of a legacy of excellence at the Spelman College. It was during NSO, when our elder peers declared themselves our Spelman sisters, that I first felt the tendrils of our community take root. So, in the spirit of that poignant moment, I come to you as your Spelman sister with one request. I ask that you see yourselves. Many times within the last week, it has been impressed upon us that our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. And I must admit that every time I heard this, I was tempted to scoff, because as someone who had been nurtured within Spelman's illustrious gates and endowed with an unshakable confidence, there was no way that I was afraid of my own greatness. But as I have been met with more complimentary remarks and affirmations within these past few weeks than I likely have before, I can say that I understand. Because when we are faced with everything that others believe us to be, the reflection of our own brilliance can be blinding and baffling. These warped visions of ourselves distort our interpretation of reality and obscure our perception of the road ahead. I understand because at an institution like Spelman, where the achievements of our four sisters loom large and our own dreams sometimes overshadow us, the temptation to do it all often wins. We pledge to change the world and become encumbered by the weight of it all. I ask that in the midst of all of your noble undertakings, that you spare a little bit of the kindness and the grace that you extend to others for yourselves. Remember that your life is worthwhile for your own sake because you make it so. That no failure, no setback, and conversely, no achievement defines you. So as you go into the world and take what is yours, as you claim your blessings, remember that there is no virtue in suffering. The choice to be happy, the choice to be free is yours. And as I look at you, my Spelman sisters, brilliant, radiant stars, I see without a shadow of a doubt that the future is bright. So I wish you all the love, happiness, and success in the world. My name is Ashley Chicks, and I will forever be your Spelman sister. Thank you.
Hi, y'all. My name is Mackenzie Clark, and I'm a senior English major from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And like my co-valedictorians, I'm honored to have a chance to talk with you all today. Today, I am met with a vision and feel almost as if I had stepped into a lucid dream. Marvelously decorated in our rows of proud black caps and twinkling tassels, I behold today a loveliness made flesh, a materialization of something deeply felt and awesome. Writing this, I thought of how I might feel standing here, graduating amongst such a formidable host of women, and I realized that the culmination of my Spelman journey has granted me a feeling of profound satisfaction, akin to how I feel when my mother smiles at me with pride, and similar to when I have completed a piece of writing that I am proud of and that I feel is beautiful. It is a feeling of something done well. I hope this feeling, this pride in yourself, this reverence for the work you've done, this aura of love your families and ancestors shine down upon you might be impressed upon each one of you, whether you be walking across this stage today or not. Seeing you here, lined up, I see something like a deep thought, a long line of language, sentences made flesh. These rows, whole paragraphs of meaning will bring to bear on the world, altering its stiff, preordained scripts of who we might be to open up possibilities of being. In our choosing Spelman, we have chosen to radically change ourselves, now onto the world, which will do being gracious and kind to ourselves. I am overwhelmed by our depth and strength to have bridged the deepest chasms ruptured in our college experience and entering a world that seems increasingly bent on erasing things, obscuring meanings, and continuing to encroach upon our bodily sovereignty. Despite these realities, I am nevertheless encouraged by what I am sure we will come to imprint on the world, that of poetry, casting off convention and restraint to write something new, what we bring beyond these gates being special and powerful. Thank you.
Hey y'all. My name is Taylor Lindea Christine Dews, and I am a graduating senior, earning my degree in sociology and anthropology with a minor in Spanish. I am so proud to be a part of this cohort of valedictorians. So shout out to the fam, shout out to my friends, shout out to faculty, shout out to staff, shout out to the class of 2022. Today, I want to talk about margins. As Black women and people with varying identities, we know about margins. Spelman is a place that has shielded us these past 4 years, but perhaps we felt marginal here too at times when it came to class, disability, gender, or sexuality. There's so much to resent about marginalization, but I want us to sit for a moment with its perks. And being in the margins, I say we're not in the rigid borders of the box. In other words, we're out of the box. If you ask me, the box is dull and ordinary, and we are creative and nonconformist. Spelman has helped to foster our difference. One of our very first tasks was to examine Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Y'all remember in ADW? This text urged us to interrogate knowledge before accepting it as our own. Taking this urging and instruction very seriously, our class has seen to it that even our beloved college has at times been the subject of our rebellion and nonconformity. As we embark on new journeys, I urge the class of 2022 to safeguard our way of thinking. We do not have to alter the ferocious, beautiful people that we have become here to fit into the four borders of new places. Rather than discarding our dreams to fit into predetermined professions, we should use them to reshape the world, to make room for our arrival. As Spelmanites, we should take from our alma mater the charge to be undaunted, although at times I was daunted by the fight. As we encounter seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and trust that we are prepared to overcome them. Not because we are supernaturally strong or supernaturally enduring, but because our minds are creative and unbridled. My heart swells with pride for each and every one of us. In closing, I borrow words from Toni Morrison's 1978 Spelman Commencement address. We are the ships that go out to explore uncharted waters and the safe harbors that welcome their return. Spelman women can do it all. Cheers to the class of 2022.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll see if I can hold it together as long as Ashley did, I'll be honest. My name is Asia Woodard. I'm a graduating senior health sciences major for a few more moments from Omaha, Nebraska. It is an incredible honor to stand before you all today as one of 5 historic valedictorians. To my family, friends, and mentors, thank you for your everlasting love and your unwavering support throughout this journey. I would do individual shout outs, but we'd be here all day, so I'll just skip that for now. And to my brilliant and beautiful sisters of the class of 2022, I want to begin by saying congratulations. We made it. It is surreal to think that our Spelman career started with the closing celebration, and now her journey begins, where my dad and I were crying in Sisters Chapel, and I'm sorry to bust you out like that, Daddy. I could not begin to fathom how I'd be able to handle living in a city 15 hours and almost 1,000 miles from home. I remember my new Spelman sisters telling me that they were holding it together until they looked over and they saw my dad crying. And it was like someone was cutting onions in there. But now look at us. We've reached the final closing celebration, commencement, and I once again find myself fighting tears. Y'all, is someone else cutting onions in here? Before I start sounding like the Tin Man from The Wiz, I want to leave you all with this. As Spelman women, we have learned to own each and every room that we walk into. Regardless of where your next steps take you, walk into each room with your head held high and your back straight with full confidence that you are meant to be there. It is easy to fall victim to imposter syndrome, to listen to the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough to be there, or that someone else is more qualified than you. Don't let that thief steal your joy. You might have compared yourself to your Spelman sisters during your matriculation, and I know I have, but I don't want you to feel like that's something that should stop you. Your journey and the space at the table is yours, and so do not be afraid to claim it. You are placed at that table, in that space, because your voice needs to be heard. Speak your truth and share your wisdom as you take that first step towards changing the world. As it says outside of Sisters Chapel, to our beloved Spelman, let her reach extend her grasp. To the change agents of the class of 2022, take a little piece of Spelman outside of her gates and use the foundation, knowledge, and values she has given to change the relationship we have with ourselves, where we do not operate in fear or self-criticism, nor are we wary of, in the words of the Right Reverend Leah Daughtry, taking up the space that we deserve. But instead, we can cultivate a joy that nourishes ourselves and makes an impact on others. I am so, so, so proud to look out into the face of my to look out into the faces of my Spelman sisters and see how far we have come from our first closing celebration. And I'm truly eager to see how much farther we will go. Thank you. Greetings to my hardworking, melanated, and Spelman-educated sisters of the class of 2022. Who would have thought that we would be sitting here today preparing to walk across the stage? It seems just like yesterday that we were having dorm wars and everyone was losing to Manly Hall. Spelman has been quite the journey. For many of us, not knowing how we were going to get here, how we were going to afford it, how we were going to make friends, or simply how we were going to sustain ourselves in this space. The fear of the unknown, this uncertainty that comes with taking risks, it allows for self-doubt to settle in. It allows for imposter syndrome to come in and make us feel like we are inadequate, like we are unworthy, like we don't belong here. It makes us question whether or not we can actually do what we were called to do. You know, maybe you are an ambitious first-generation college student who had to figure out how to navigate this space on your own. Maybe you are a dynamic creative who comes from a more traditional family who doesn't understand what it means to be a creative. Maybe you had a sibling who previously attended Spelman and their light shines so bright that it's been so hard for you to pave your own path and be who you were meant to be. Maybe you come from such an established and esteemed family that you are terrified of making a mistake. Maybe people doubted you when you said that you were going to graduate from the #1 HBCU because God had not blessed them with a vision that was purposefully and divinely intended for you. Maybe you come from a family where you didn't have that much support, or you've had to depend on yourself for everything. Maybe you didn't get to Spelman right away, and maybe you were waitlisted. Maybe you're a transfer student who struggled with finding your way through Spelman. Maybe you're an international student who took a jump and came over here all by yourself. Maybe you have a child and doubted if you would finish college. Maybe you are a student who decided to return back to school when you realized that you could make a choice to change the world. Maybe you struggle with your identity because you've been in spaces where majority of the people did not look like you, so your true natural self may not have been accepted. Maybe you're insecure about how you talk, how you walk, how you dress. Maybe you were rich, maybe you were poor, maybe you're graduating summa cum laude or thank you, Lottie. I don't know what your story is, but there is something I do know. If Spelman hasn't taught us anything, is that we know that regardless of where you come from, you are more than whatever your circumstances were. And you are living proof because you are sitting in here right now. You defied the odds and beat the pandemic. Yes. So, let me tell you the type of women Spelman produces. Trailblazers, radical revolutionaries, spunky and audacious go-getters, women who have mastered the ability to party all weekend and still show up and dominate in the class on Monday.
Strong-minded and strong-willed women who are unwavering and relentless when it comes to achieving their goals. Women who can wait to the last possible minute to do assignment and still ace it. Women who can clearly be wrongfully cheated and yet still have the courage to run for governor as many times as it takes. Yes. Women who are confidently and proudly Black, who have no problem taking up space. See, everything is about perspective. Everything you've experienced at Spelman, every challenge, every obstacle, every trial, every tribulation has required you to adapt. And through every adaptation, you grew into the Spelman woman I just described. So as we go on to this next stage in life, this is my charge to you. Channel your inner Spelmanite. Whenever you're in a space with predominantly white people and you feel insecurity seeping through the cracks, ask yourself, what would a Spelmanite do? Whenever you're in your grad program thinking, Lord have mercy, I cannot do this, ask yourself, what would a Spelmanite do? Whenever you are in the face of adversity, and trials and tribulations, ask yourself, what would a Spelmanite do? See, Spelman is more than just an image. It's a lifestyle. It's a character trait. It's a mentality. So as I end my speech today, there are two things I want to leave you with. First, I want to take a moment to honor our sisters who have transferred out or otherwise could not be with us here today. I want you to know that you are not forgotten, you are loved, you are supported, and remember, life is a marathon and not a race. Regardless of your current circumstances, you all will forever be a part of this moment, our legacy, and the Spelman class of 2022. Lastly, if you're anything like me, it feels weird to celebrate yourself, right? We always thank everyone else first for molding us into the women we are today. But I think that we've been a little too humble to say that we're graduating from the #1 HBCU for how many consecutive years? Right now, this moment is about us because we earned it. So, my sisters, please rise and repeat after me. As the infamous Snoop Dogg once said, I want to thank me for believing in myself. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for trying to always do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. State your first and last name. You are that girl. Godspeed, y'all.
Thank you very much to each of our valedictorians and the senior class president for those wonderful words to your classmates. Thank you again. It is now time for the moment that we have all been waiting for. The presentation of diplomas to the class of 2022. After you have received your diplomas, President Campbell will ask you as a unified class to switch your tassels, marking your transition to the status of a graduate of Spelman College. Please wait so that all your sisters can do this together. I now invite President Campbell to join me at the podium. Seniors, we will take a moment to recognize the top 10 graduates and honors program graduates in the class of 2022. Please stand if you are in that group. Remain standing. President Campbell, upon the recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to introduce to you those students who have achieved the highest academic honor, our top 10 and the Ethel Waddell Githee Honors Program Scholars. Congratulations to our top 10 and honors program graduates. Please be seated. We will now invite the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degree to please stand. President Campbell, upon the recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to introduce to you these candidates for the conferral of the degree Bachelor of Arts or the degree Bachelor of Science. Congratulations, candidates. Please be seated. We now invite the top 10 and the Ethel Waddell Githee Honors graduates to the stage.
Nyla Renee Barnes, summa cum laude. Ashley A. Chicks, summa cum laude. Taylor Lindea Christine Dews, summa cum laude. Asia Renee Woodard, summa cum laude. Jamie Shariel Crawford, summa cum laude. Ambria Monet Evangelina Coakley, summa cum laude. Audra Nicole Davison, summa cum laude. Denaja Cache Hardin, summa cum laude. Salia Shade Apatira, magna cum laude. Valerie Atieno, cum laude. Sekai Jasmine Bonner Flagg, summa cum laude. Alexis Renee Brooks, summa cum laude. Olivia Isabella Kane, summa cum laude. Amari Resna Cash, summa cum laude. Mackenzie Elena Clark, summa cum laude. Naima Isabella Castaneda Isaac, magna cum laude. Nia Renee Foster, summa cum laude. Mackenzie Jean Gillison, summa cum laude. Yasmin Lachelle Farrakhan Mohammed, summa cum laude. Lauren Bailey Godwin, summa cum laude. Lena Gwendolyn Anglin, summa cum laude. Lauren Bailey Godwin, summa cum laude. Ananda Tone Griffin, summa cum laude. Grace Amanda Hall, summa cum laude. Mia Jordan Hall, summa cum laude. Lauren Denise Harrow, summa cum laude. Kennedy Christine Hayes, magna cum laude. Megan Alexandria Hodge, cum laude. Ashley Joy Hodo, summa cum laude. Camille Jourdain Hole, summa cum laude. Kiara Aaliyah Huff, summa cum laude. Ananda Tone Griffin, summa cum laude. Jillian Michelle Jackson, summa cum laude. Grace Amanda Hall, summa cum laude. Kelsey Danielle Jackson, summa cum laude. Deborah Michelle Jeffries, magna cum laude. Fallon Amari LaBranche, magna cum laude. Ayana Lachey Lang, magna cum laude. Taylor Amara Moorer, summa cum laude. Gabrielle Alexandra Morse, summa cum laude. Sadiqa Alexis Murphy, summa cum laude. Joe Zaria Russell, summa cum laude. Isoki N.A. Nelson, summa cum laude. Princess Sampson, magna cum laude. Camille Althea Simmons, magna cum laude. Joya Marie Sims, summa cum laude. Kennedy Chanel Starkey, cum laude. Shaquavia Elena Strawn, cum laude. Christian Alexis Knox, magna cum laude. Summa cum laude. Bradley Alyssa Smith, summa cum laude.
We now invite the candidates for Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science to proceed to the stage as directed by Roe.
Casey Rebecca Adams. Danielle Oluwabunmi Akimbobola, summa cum laude. Ariel Alexis Alexander, summa cum laude. Leslie Amaya Alexander, summa cum laude. Nalis Saren Alexander. Dunya Haider Al-Musawi, magna cum laude. Lanikia Janice Sunny Anderson. Kyla B. Angelo, cum laude. Kristen Carolyn Destiny Bailey, cum laude. Tori Nicole Regina Bailey. Ayana Shantae Ballard, cum laude. Ariana Lene Banks, magna cum laude. Taylor Lillian Banks, magna cum laude. Maya Danielle Barnes, summa cum laude. Maya Nicole Bearfield. Jordan Alexis Barant, summa cum laude. Yanni Barbara Barrow, magna cum laude. Ariel Geneva Biggs, summa cum laude. Kaidia Crenette Bilbo. Jada Elise Bowden, summa cum laude. Nina Adizas Boyd. Morgan Christine Braxton, cum laude. Mecca Nia Boutte. Haley Alexandra Bro. Divine Love Brooks, magna cum laude. Fawn Ariana Brown. Kayla Marie Bryant, summa cum laude. Jasmine Ebony Nate Bullock, magna cum laude. Blanca Anita Birch, summa cum laude. Trisha Renee Butler. Naomi Camille Bird. Alyssa Rubianne Cabezas, magna cum laude. Shanisha Renee Caldwell. Lexia Mackenzie Carr. Jordan Marie Ayame Carter, magna cum laude. Jill Shantae Cartwright. Alexandria R. Chargois, summa cum laude. Victoria Chantel Cherry. Amira Love Clark, cum laude. Maya Talise Clark, cum laude. Ashley Gail Clark. Kai Amel Clemens, cum laude. Grace Clarice Cole, magna cum laude. Janae K. V. Coleman, summa cum laude. Asia K. Collins. Jessica D. Cooper. Letitia Christina Council. Edith E. Courtney. Joby Jaslyn Crawford. Stephanie Lauren Crawford, summa cum laude. Treasure Bonet Dahl. Ashley Daphne Daly, magna cum laude. Jasmine Michael Davis, cum laude. Nkechi Star Des Ogugwa. Alexis Ann Dickerson, cum laude. Taylor Alexis Coleman. Emmy Noel Douglas. Nina Marie Douglas, summa cum laude. Karen Marian Duyan, magna cum laude. Hadijatu Drame. Nia Janelle Dumas, cum laude. Alana Mercy Edmond, summa cum laude. Lauren Nicole Earp, summa cum laude. Amani Janae Kyler. Deborah Oganesovo Esahode, cum laude. Gabrielle Simone Evans, summa cum laude. Adriana Alexandria Ferguson, summa cum laude. Willetta Stephanie Ely, cum laude. Avene Elysia Irvin, cum laude. Janae Andrea Fleming. Nzinga Deshara Florence, cum laude. Justice Selah Foster. Gabrielle Marie Fulilove. Erin Kimber Gales, cum laude. Kai Christy G. Taylor Jaden Hannah Gills. Kalkidan K. Gizal, cum laude. Ciara Janae Franklin. Sydney Nicole Goggins, summa cum laude. Abigail Chelsea Gordon, magna cum laude. Tyra Maya Gravasande, cum laude. Amara Kayana Gray, magna cum laude. Brittany Utina Gray, magna cum laude. Tyra F. Green, cum laude. Haven Virginia Greer, summa cum laude. Maya Velmisha Cantrell Griffin. Christina Diane Gutierrez, cum laude. Markayla Renee Hall. Tiana Chanel Hall, magna cum laude. Kennedy Ora Dean Hamilton, summa cum laude. Deja Nashay Hardin, summa cum laude. Kennedy Ora Dean Hamilton, summa cum laude. Naya Elaine Tillman Hardin, magna cum laude. Brianna Hardison. Kirsten Nikaya Gori. Jasmine Anita Harris. Khalees Amor Hartwell, magna cum laude. Krishandre Hawkins. Kelsey Elizabeth Hayes. Kendall Alexandria Heath, magna cum laude. English Amore Hills, magna cum laude. Amaya Curie Hines, summa cum laude. Rolisha Diamond Hines, cum laude. Alexis Kendall Hobbs. Darshay Javon Holly, summa cum laude. Brittany Victoria Holmes, magna cum laude. Tatiana Itana Horabin, magna cum laude. Melita Adia S. Horton. Alize Imani Nasia Howard, magna cum laude. Jaden C. Hunter, magna cum laude. Rayana Renee Ivory. April Danielle Jackson. Nia Raven Jackson. Brittany Nicole James, cum laude. Christina Jasmine James, summa cum laude. Jadora M. James, cum laude. Darian Sion Jefferson. Destiny Marie Johnson, cum laude. Kayla Gabrielle Johnson, magna cum laude. Taylor Dion Jenkins. Kiva Elise Johnson, magna cum laude. Taja Imani Johnson, cum laude. Zaria Tylee Johnson, summa cum laude. Kaylin Marie Jones. Kendall Claire Jones. Laurel Annette Jones, magna cum laude. Lori Leanne Jones, cum laude. Lauren Danielle Cahey. Zoe Eliza Joyner. Cicely Allison Kelly. Kaylee Juliet Kennebrew, magna cum laude. Amanda D. Kelly, cum laude. Shania Chanel Kenyon. Fatima Zahara Khan. Amina Suzanne King. Kajalyn Cambrell Kirkland, summa cum laude. Omni Maji Zaria Napper. Cheyenne Rochelle Knox, cum laude. Alicia C. Coombe. Brittany Amber LaCroix, cum laude. Kristen Alexis Lamont. Tyler J. LaRoche, magna cum laude. Jasmine Elise Lassan, magna cum laude. Mackenzie Evelyn Lee. Tatiana Ariel Mackenzie Lester, cum laude. Sydney Alexandra Guy Lee. Jewel Shavirian Andronique Lewis, cum laude. Star Lewis. Jillian Danielle Lanier, magna cum laude. Kai Danielle Livingston. Michael Michelle Megan Longino, summa cum laude.
Raquel My Love, cum laude.
Naya Mackenzie Lohman, magna cum laude. Sydney Alexandra Guy Lee. Kennedy Marie Mackey, magna cum laude. Sydney Alexandra Guy Lee. Caitlin Amari Malone, cum laude. Ashley Ronnie Manning Vereen, cum laude. Brooke Taylor Mason, cum laude. Deja Louise Mason, magna cum laude. Asia Monique Matthews, cum laude. Gia Elizabeth McRae, magna cum laude. Kendall B. McDonald. Shalina Jade McGruder, magna cum laude. Dajane Shanice McKinney, cum laude. Jordan Rainice McKeel. Ariana Lynette Merriweather, cum laude. Tara A. Miller. Danielle Nicole Mitchell, cum laude. Nyla Rose Marie Moore, cum laude. Raven Maria Moore. Isla K. Muhammad. Nike Yelena Ngasam Njike, cum laude. Egypt Kushi Alset Nuboa, cum laude. Amanda Suzette Fumilayo Ogboy, magna cum laude. Zamora Osariame Osahan. Maya Nicole Ote. Jordan Michaela Parker.
Chelsea Sharon Alexandra Lester, magna cum laude.
Rochelle Lynette Phillips, cum laude. Zamina Cecilia Phillips. Azeb Solomon Pickett, summa cum laude. Amaris Shani Ples Buford, cum laude. Prinshana Denise Potts Washington, cum laude. Twanisha Justice Powell, cum laude. Khadija Danielle Powell Brooks, magna cum laude. Nicole Lee Pretch Terrell, magna cum laude. Ashaya Naomi Rachel. Mackenzie Alexandra Ramsey, magna cum laude. Raven Rashima Randall, magna cum laude. Cameron Jerry-Ann Rawls, cum laude. Jacoby Jatoy Reddix, magna cum laude. Shelby Lynn Richardson, magna cum laude. Bailey Simone Roberts, magna cum laude. Destiny Tiara Carlena Roberts. Kennedy R. Robinson. Deja Marie Rogers, magna cum laude. Jayla Charisse Rose, magna cum laude. Cameron Jean Salter. Kennedy Angeline Sams, magna cum laude. Lauren Linnell Sanders, magna cum laude. Larnay Andrea Satchel, magna cum laude. Hannah Hagir Schwartz, magna cum laude. Kayla Rebecca Seals Allers. Kelly Iman Seidner. Gabriana Zakia Simmons, magna cum laude. India Autumn Soleil Simmons, summa cum laude. Armani Monet Singh. Kennedy Darnay Sanders, cum laude. Tiana Singleton, cum laude. Trayshawn Charmaine Skeeters, cum laude. Asada R. Smith, magna cum laude. Deja Shantae Smith. Kendra Deanne Smith. Lanija Tiana Smith, magna cum laude. Tijara Mae Smith, magna cum laude. Inaya Adia Sudan, summa cum laude. Jessica Sierra Spencer, magna cum laude. Kennedy Elise Spratt, magna cum laude. Kylie Amaya Stanback. Kiara Carla Starling, summa cum laude. Tyler Atea Stevenson. Jordan Marie Starr, summa cum laude. Tempe Mariah Stewart. Takai Deshay Straw. Jawanza Stuckey. Lauren Allen Summers, magna cum laude. Kaylin Sierra Sutton. J. Alicia Tarver. Alyssa Maya Tasker, cum laude. Jaden Nicole Tate, cum laude. Cortland Benet Tate, cum laude. Jordan Faye Hawkins Taylor, cum laude. Sierra Elise Terry, magna cum laude. Joygina Thomas. Brianna Nyla Tompkins, magna cum laude. Jacqueline Saida Thompson. Shinelle Dejanay Thompson, cum laude. Alyssa Alexandria Thornton. Tyler Marie Traylor. Kieran Hansen Turner, magna cum laude. Taylor Elise Turner, magna cum laude. Garelyn Amari Vaz. Jerry McKenna Nyathira Waiti. McKenna Logan Waller, magna cum laude. Ashanti Silhouette Walters. Alana Taya Thomas, magna cum laude. Tasha Nicole Walters. Noemi Nala Macy Warren. Menkuta Menab Hems Het Hetep Whaley. Ming Joy Washington. Tiana C. Whaley. Asia O. White, magna cum laude. Jandalyn Elaine Washington, magna cum laude. Jalen Deshana White. Kiera Renee White. Samaya Drew White, cum laude. Samaya M. White, summa cum laude. Alaris J. Wiggins, magna cum laude. Amaya Kayla Williams, cum laude. Ayana Kai Jean Williams. Janae Christine Williams, cum laude. Logan Fairchild Williams. Kaylin Lorice Williamson. Darie Kanaya Willis, summa cum laude. Imani Michaela Wingfield, magna cum laude. Mania Nefertari Williams, summa cum laude. Maria Anise Wolf. Jasmine Elizabeth Woodruff, cum laude. Jabari Iman Yamonja Olukun. Omalade Henrietta Adeyemi, cum laude. Ihunanya Destiny Agumuo, magna cum laude. Natalie E. Iswan, magna cum laude. Unique Sade Akinloy. Naomi Morenike Akinpelu, magna cum laude. Jocelyn Elizabeth Alford. Samiha Hasima Ali. Morgan Ashley Allen, cum laude. Elizabeth Ihimwenma Amadasu. Jasanika Danielle Amsterdam. Amber Shanice Armstrong, cum laude. Kieran Hansen Turner, magna cum laude. Lauren L. Banks. Bria Yvette Beauvais. Delvinae Anika Beckles. Sharika Alexis Bean, cum laude. Raina Renee Bellum, cum laude. Erica Simone Bellamy, summa cum laude. Sierra DeLynn Berry, cum laude. Alonza Z. Blake, magna cum laude. Lisbeth Baltida Rebelar, cum laude. Sarah Michelle Bradford, magna cum laude. Asia Janae Brister. Chelsea Sharon Alexandria Lester, magna cum laude. Kieran Hansen Turner, magna cum laude. Taylor Reese Baskin, cum laude. Aliyah McKenzie Brooks, cum laude. Angela Janelle Brown, cum laude. Morgan Brown, cum laude. Rayana Deja Bush, summa cum laude. Kennedy Troy Butts. Gabrielle Elizabeth Kane, cum laude. Dominique Kendall Calhoun. Imani A. Carnegie. Shayla Cassandra Cherry, summa cum laude. Ayana Marie Chisholm, cum laude. Amaya Nicole Bailey, cum laude. Anile Delane Choice. Maya J. Coleman, cum laude. Inkimdalam Grace Adazi Cook, cum laude. Naira L. Cooper. Kaya Simone Brown. Cameron Alexandra Corbin. London Valencia Crawford. Alexis Marie Crawford Simmons. Anaya Simone Daniels, cum laude. Kayla Joy Delk. Zaria Rodesha Denson. Michaela T. Dockery, cum laude. Jade Talara Dodge Showgreen. Amber R. Donaldson. Lauren Elise Dones, cum laude. Damali Ursary, cum laude. Jamila Grace Eatman, summa cum laude. Darla Jamie Jean Ellis. Chioma Chinenye Ezemezu. Amari Janae Felder. Braylon Simone Fisher, cum laude. Ayana Piola Forte, cum laude. Mackenzie Loren Fox, cum laude. Khalees Arlen Goodwin, magna cum laude. Ashlyn Lacey Gray, magna cum laude. Alexis Catherine Rebecca Green, cum laude. Najia G. Griffin, cum laude. Keisha Brianna Harper. Madison Cerelia Harris. Morgan Lynn Harris, magna cum laude. Kashari Tanae Henry. China Hester, cum laude. Kayla Nicole Hicks. Dariana N. Hopkins, cum laude. Micah Simone Howard. Liani Kai Eidlet. Samara Ann Jefferson, cum laude. Jasmine Denise Jenkins, summa cum laude. Jamira Grace Franklin. Amina Jendai Gordon Johnson, magna cum laude. Sabrina Allegra Johnson. Jasmine Brianne Jones, summa cum laude. Kaya Brianna Jones. Siani Lee Jones. Tyra A. Jones, cum laude. Skylar Victoria Lee Jordan. Maya Jessica Hill, magna cum laude. Kamaria Anjali Hyde. Masa Khadijah Kaloga, cum laude. Jennifer C. Kamuche. Jessica Chinwinau Kamush. Christina Michelle Kingsbury, cum laude. Quintera Kamaya Knight, summa cum laude. Anaya Elise Kramer. Nia Amber Jones, cum laude. Kiara Kentrell Lewis, summa cum laude. Jessica Carol Lee. Michaela Brianna Lofton. Gabrielle Darby Zacchaeus Long. Miranda Nicole Lowry, magna cum laude. Tarya Shaya Joseph. Deandria Louise Madden. Kadreen Alexia Malcolm, magna cum laude. Janisa P. Manning, summa cum laude. Mackenzie Grace Martin. Kennedy Valoan Massey. Nina Simone Matthews, magna. Brianna Angel McGregor, magna cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth McGregory, cum laude. Chloe Michelle Merriweather, magna cum laude. Lauren Alice Mitchell, cum laude. Brianna Abigail Miata Moore. Tahira Micaiah Moore. Brooklyn Alexandria Neal. Lila Shaitu Enjoya, summa cum laude. Ayomide Zainab Okulea. Grace Anuoluwapo Olofintui, magna cum laude. Coriana Denicia Osborne Willis, magna cum laude. Charlotte Kiana Palmer, cum laude. Keziah Maria Palmer. Jordan Elise Pastor. Lauren Alexandra Parks. Jasmine Brianna Pearson, cum laude. Kennedy Marina Perkins. Justice Tonay Phillips. Orlacia Shanice Phillips Pickens, magna cum laude. Ryan Elise Pleasant. Kyla J. Price. Tamaj Imani Quillins. Ashley Janae Rainey, cum laude. Kendall Kamaria Reed, magna cum laude. Ayana Daisy Annie Robinson, magna cum laude. Faith Eunice Robinson, cum laude. Zia Imani Rock. Rachel Heather Ruffin, summa cum laude. Kayla Melissa Sampson. Maya Lee Salisbury, cum laude. Abiudin Cora Scott. Senya Elise Scott. Kinsley Renee Ray, cum laude. Jordan Soraya Shambry. Aria Elise Shelton, cum laude. Journey Alexis Simpson. Avani Nichelle Smith. Brooke Kennedy Smith. Gabriella S. Solomon. Tierra Ashe Stanley. Taylor Alexis Talley, magna cum laude. Christian Lorraine Stevens, magna cum laude. Brooke Ashley Taylor, magna cum laude. Doris S. Taylor. Reagan Elise Thomas, magna cum laude. Zaria Andrea Veronica Thomas, magna cum laude. Amaya Loren Tucker, magna cum laude. Trinity Antoinette Tucker. Sharadiant Tyvian Shakora Turner, cum laude. Tatiana Marie Tiger, cum laude. Olivia Arishe Shewundede Unakasin. Hawa Wage. Alexandria Noel Warner, summa cum laude. Peyton Ashley Watley. Kayla R. Taylor. Mumbi Wamboy Stewart Whitby, magna cum laude. April White. Sydney Nicole White. Sarah Louise Wiggins. Ashley Nicole Williams, cum laude. Maya Tyson. Asia Sade Williams, cum laude. Sharita Nefertiti White. Alexis N. Stays. Zarina Cerise Sementelli, cum laude. Nia Jaleese Webb, cum laude.
Amira Dobbin, magna cum laude. Alexis.
Yeah, Alexis Michelle.
Alexis Michelle Clark.
Candidates for the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degree, please stand. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Spelman College, I confer upon you the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degree. You may now switch your tassel to the left. Congratulations. You may be seated. Graduates, for the past 7 years, I've had the immense pleasure of witnessing your tenacity in overcoming obstacles. Sometimes I've sat on the porch of Reynolds and watching you walk with purpose across the campus. There are times when I've just stopped and chatted with you, or just stood in the line with you on Fried Chicken Wednesday. But today, I want to share a very special story of my encounter with a remarkable Spelman student. This is a story of triumph, determination, and success. This is the story of a journey of one of your own sisters who experienced a tragedy of epic proportions and fought back to be here with you all today. In August of 2018, Alexandria Warner transferred to Spelman College from the University of Pittsburgh, On November 16, 2018, life unexpectedly changed for her. Taking a study break, Alexandria and some friends went out for something to eat. On their way back to campus, just a few yards from the Spelman gates, a high-speed police chase of a stolen car ended when the car being chased collided with the one in which Alexandria was a passenger, crushing the car and leaving Alexandria with multiple life-threatening injuries, including numerous severe fractures all over her body, permanent nerve damage in her right leg, a traumatic brain injury, and the loss of both of her kidneys. She was taken to Grady Hospital, where members of the Spelman community, Dr. Holloman, Reverend Guidry, and I visited her in the hospital to offer prayers to her family for Alexandria's recovery. Her recovery was long and painful. Countless surgeries, daily dialysis, relearning how to walk, talk, read, write, and a kidney transplant, just to name a few of the challenges she would face in the coming weeks and months. After a long and arduous period of rehabilitation with many setbacks and false starts, in the fall of 2020, Alexandria was able to resume her studies at Spelman College virtually, and in January 2022, Alexandria returned to Spelman College campus for her final semester. She was recently inducted into Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society and is graduating with the distinction of summa cum laude honors, and today, she walked across the stage to graduate with her Spelman sisters. We have prepared for you a short video of her journey to graduation. Well, I was going to ask Alexandria to stand. If Alexandria, please stand so we can congratulate you. And I'd like to ask Susie Giles, her mother, to stand as well, and her family. If you're here, please stand. This remarkable family that stood with Alexandria. She plans to pursue a career as physician assistant, specializing in pediatric nephrology and pediatric kidney transplantation. One of the lines of scripture that Alexandria is fond of quoting is Luke chapter 1, verse 37. Faith, it does not make things easy, it makes them possible. Alexandria, please know that your Spelman legacy is your faith and the faith of your family on display here this afternoon. Please know that it will forever lift and inspire us. We wish you and your family all the best. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium Kiva Wright-Berry, class of 1979 and president of the National Alumni Association of Spelman College, an alumna representative to the Board of Trustees who will conduct the alumni induction.
Good afternoon. I am Kiva Wright-Berry, class of 1979 and president of the National Alumni Association of Spelman College, and I greet you on behalf of the more than 21,000 women who call themselves Spelmanites. As our mission states, the National Alumni Association of Spelman College, NAASC, is the official organization that supports Spelman College, a historically Black college for women, through financial gifts, student recruitment, sisterhood, community service, and recognition of Spelman women. The association provides, encourages, and promotes growth and development of alumni through leadership opportunities and partnership alliances. The NAASC actively seeks to involve all former students and graduates in the fulfillment of its purpose. With this in mind, we now gladly take the opportunity to welcome the newest class of Spelman graduates into our fold. Will the glamorous Golden Girls of the class of 1972, our dazzling Diamond Daughters of the classes of 1971 and before, and all other dynamic, world-changing alumni of Spelman College, please stand to help induct the 2022 graduating class into the National Alumni Association. Will the class of 2022 please stand? By the powers vested in me as president of the National Alumni Association of Spelman College, and in witness by your fellow alumni, I hereby induct the graduates of the Spelman College class of 2022 into the sisterhood and grant you membership into the NAASC with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. As a result of this induction, you will receive 1 year of complimentary membership into the association. Congratulations and welcome to NAASC.
You are now officially alumni of Spelman College. Congratulations. Well, it's been a long afternoon, and I'm just going to leave you with some brief parting words. You are a remarkable class. There are 495 graduating seniors, 54 Phi Beta Kappa, 2 Fulbrights, a Schwartzman, and a Newman Scholar. Over a third of you are going off to graduate school, medical school, law school. You're going to work on Capitol Hill in state houses and mayor's offices around the country. You will help build theater companies and dance ensembles. You'll work in research labs and at some of the top businesses and corporations in the world. You're setting off to start your own companies, or to join the Peace Corps, or Teach for America, or to teach in the classrooms of public schools all over the country. You are a commissioned officer in the United States Navy. And you are doing this despite the fact that you have weathered some of the worst storms this country has experienced in the past 50 years. Today, we not only celebrate you, we admire you, and we take strength from your determination and acknowledge the grace with which you've managed this adversity. Yesterday, the Right Reverend Leah Daughtry charged us with learning to claim our space, and today we bore witness to 3 incredible women, Stacey Abrams, Dr. Elizabeth Alexander, and Hannah Sharif, who are fierce in claiming their space. And yes, they do deserve our recognition. As I leave Spelman along with you, I consider why this school is such a necessity in this world and at this moment. I believe it is because whatever subjects your stellar faculty sitting over there, yes, they need applause, yes, absolutely. Whatever they taught you, whether it was political science, biology, computer science, dance, music, English, math, economics, the most successful of them have taught you how to make room for yourselves in the world with authority and grace, to claim your space. And as I depart, I marvel at 141 years of a lineage of faculty and administrators, staff, alumni, trustees who have made it possible to sustain a school that carries all of us across the waters of our struggles. I marvel at a school that is expert in giving us the fierce intellectual will to exercise unyielding faith. I marvel at students like you, like Alexandria, who demonstrate that faith, it does not make things easy, it makes them possible. So my sisters, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of your families and your communities. Make sure that your hand extends back to those behind you to keep the lineage strong and everlasting. And as I leave Spelman with you, I wish that the ship that carries your dreams sails long and far. May you remember that in Spelman you always have a safe harbor and a home. And may you remember, I love you and I wish you all the best.
Friends, our ceremony today would not be complete without further acknowledging the upcoming retirement of our beloved 10th president, Dr. Mary Schmidt Campbell. Dr. Campbell, would you please join me at the podium? This is a surprise to her. Mary Schmidt Campbell, since 2015, you have led this college with grace, fortitude, and a commitment to ensuring that our scholars receive exceptional academic and professional preparation, continuing Spelman's well-known legacy of excellence. We extend our gratitude and admiration for you and your many accomplishments, recognizing the critical role that you have played in ensuring the college's success on many fronts. You have led the college in revitalizing its mission, and as the Chief Executive Officer, designated an innovative and ambitious strategic plan that has yielded growth in the areas of science, technology, the arts, and entrepreneurship. Despite the challenges of these past few years, your leadership has allowed us to meet each challenge head-on and successfully. I want to mention just a few of your many successes during your tenure at Spelman College. You more than doubled the applications to the college from 5,000 in 2015 to over 13,000 for the class entering next fall. You created 5 new endowed professorships to strengthen faculty retention and recruitment of additional outstanding faculty. You shepherded an impressive growth in the college's endowment from $342 million when you arrived to over $500 million today. You maintained Spelman's standing for 15 years running as the #1 college in the nation for producing Black women who go on to earn doctorates in science and technology fields. You reached more than 100% of a 7-year capital campaign goal to raise $250 million in only 4 years, with the current total now at $314 million. You strengthened Spelman's business model with the launch of East Spelman, a new online education enterprise for adult learners. And Dr. Campbell, all of your exceptional work has culminated in the recent naming and groundbreaking of the Mary Schmidt Campbell Center for Innovation and the Arts, the new academic building that will be the front porch, creative center, and entrepreneurial hub for Spelman College. This list of accomplishments only begins to catalog your tremendous impact on Spelman College because we know your influence is long and extends well beyond our gates. On this journey with you has been your husband, Dr. George Campbell, affectionately known as the first gentleman of Spelman College. Dr. George Campbell, thank you for your commitment to the success of Dr. Campbell and Spelman College. Dr. George Campbell, please stand to be recognized and thanked. Finally, Dr. Campbell, as a token of our appreciation for your leadership and as a keepsake of your administration, the class of 2022 has received a lapel pin that reads, "Keep the Faith," your signature sign-off as a memento to the years of your service to Spelman College, and here is your pin. Thank you. We are so excited to send you off on the next phase of your journey. And just like you have told us to keep the faith, we want to extend the same message of love and kindness to you. Graduates, faculty, trustees, staff, friends, and family, at the count of 3, please raise your hands and yell in your loudest Spelman proud voices, "Keep the faith, Dr. Campbell." Ready? 1, 2, 3. Keep the faith, Dr. Campbell! Thank you so very much. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so, thank you so much. My greatest blessing to be here at Spelman College is to be with you and to graduate with you. And I think it's time for us to sing the Spelman hymn. Yeah. Okay.
problem. Class of 22, friends and family, let's pause to receive the benediction. Amen. Class of 2022, receive this blessing. As you prepare to step out into the world, may you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, neither has it entered into your heart all that God has for you. Know that your path has been laid out. The plan for your life has been made, and it is a plan to prosper you, not to harm you, but to give you a hope and a future. Know that weapons will form, but they shall not prosper. Know that you will come to Red Seas, but they will part for you, and you shall walk through them. Know that mountains may rise before you, but you will climb and ascend. Know that your steps have been ordered by God. Don't let anybody tell you what God cannot do. So run on and see what the end is going to be. Your ancestors in front of you, grace and mercy beside you, God deep within you, and Spelman behind you. Run on with your blessed, bad, beautiful black cells. Run on, my sisters, and see what the end shall be. And until we meet again, go in peace, go in power, go in love, go in grace. Congratulations, 22. We love you. God bless you.